Howdy and welcome back to the shop. Today we're rebuilding a head, or we're swapping parts over on a head. Now this is off of a generator, just a little one-cylinder air-cooled generator of a certain make and model who I will not mention. But we got to take the valves and the springs out of this head and put them in a new head. And I thought I'd just kind of do a quick little overview of what that amounts to. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the intake valve guide seal in here before I forget. The exhaust valve does not get a valve guide seal, not on this motor. So that just clicks right down on there. You'll feel it kind of click, and that's it. So this is a cheap Hazard Fraught valve spring compressor, really inexpensive. And I lost a keeper. Nope, that wasn't a keeper, that was a lash cap. I didn't even know them had lash caps on them. I'll be dipped. There we go. So we're going to keep all of that together. That's the exhaust valve. That's lash cap off the intake valve, just fell out. Come on out of there, you little devil. Well, so there's the intake lash cap over here. Go ahead and take the intake side apart. There we go. Okay, there's the intake spring. Intake valve. Okay, and that doesn't have a steel spring pocket in it. Interesting. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is blue these valves up and blue the seats up, and we're just going to look at the contact pattern. I'm going to do that off camera. Okay, so I've got them with blued up with red dye. I guess I should say I've got them redded it up. So that's just Dykem. And I've just coated the, down here on the contact area of the valves and in the head. And my idea, my goal here is I'm going to put the valve in there and just turn it just a little bit, work it back and forth, and see how wide of a sealing surface we've got. We need probably a little bit more than a 1/16. You can see on this one, the exhaust sealing surface on this head, I can get it to glint. That's a hair less than a 1/16. Yeah, probably something like that. And then on the intake, it's about the same. So we just want to verify that the valves are seating correctly. What we do not want is just a razor thin, sharp seating surface. If you have just a razor thin, sharp seating surface, what will happen is the valves will not transfer heat from the valve itself down to the seat. And that's especially important on the exhaust valve, because that's how that valve gets rid of heat. You know, a lot of heat there. So we're going to wait for our Dykem to flash off, and we'll be back. Okay, so our stuff is flashed off here, so we're just going to drop a valve in it. And we're going to take a lapping tool, and we're just going to give her about 2 turns back and forth, if we can get her to turn. Oh, she won't turn. Well, we'll grab the valve stem. Boy, this is hard to show. There we go. So you can see we've got a pretty thin, maybe you can't see. We've got a pretty thin margin right there. Come on, baby, focus for me. Anyway, it's about a 1/16, maybe a little bit less. I think I'll let that fly for an intake valve. Let's check the exhaust. That one's too thin. Yes, that's just barely razor thin. So we're going to get some lapping compound. So here's some fine metal lapping compound, grinding compound it says. Whoop, I've never even opened that can. Whoa, baby, that's enough. That right there is enough for 14 valves. And it keeps coming and coming like a turd in a plunge bowl. So the best thing to do with this is just to get it absolutely all over every daggum thing. And really on this, less is more. Now I'm going to put a little bit of moly grease. Put a little bit of moly grease down on the valve stem. Just because that makes me feel better about myself. And now we're just going to work this back and forth a few times. And you can hear it. There we go. Now you can see the dull gray line on there. That dull gray line is your contact area, and that's about a 1/16 of an inch. Take my word for it, it's about a 1/16 of an inch. So now we're going to do the intake side. Same thing, we're going to put a little bit of moly grease on the valve stem. That needs a little bit more. There we go. That looks pretty good. Maybe just a hair more. There we go. That's about right. That's about a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little shy of a 1/16, but it'll be fine. So now the next thing I'm going to do is take my favorite carcinogenic cleaner, and I'm going to wash all of the lapping compound off of everything, because we don't want especially on the intake valve, we don't want this to end up down in the cylinder. Very bad much things happen. So I'll do that off camera and be right back. Okay, so we got our cleaner and the houndstooth. So the next thing we want to do, put that up out of the way before I lose it. Next thing we want to do is re-lubricate our valve stems. And we want to have a little bit of grease down in that gap right there. Okie dokie. Let's see, we've got a new spring pocket seat for the Exhaustamundo. I'm going to put a little grease underneath of that, and that'll hold her down from moving. Trash can. And we've got new retainers. Ugh, what happened to that? Ugh. Don't have to reuse, or you don't have to use new ones, but the benevolent overlords at the mothership offered to send new ones, so I said, yes, sir, that'd be lovely. So I guess I'll start with the exhaust. Put the valve in there, and we're going to kind of work it back and forth a couple of times to spread the moly lube out. Like your valve corn presser. Now you know why I wanted to leave a little bit of grease on them grooves. That grease will help hold our keeper in there. Oh, you tagged them thing. I'll be right back. I need a pair of pliers. Shit the bed, Fred. Always helps if you're shaking like a dog passing a peach pit when you're doing this. There we go. And if you've ever never seen a dog pass a peach pit, it's a thing to behold, I guarantee you. Make YouTube videos, it'll be fun. Goodness sakes. This is a heck of a lot easier on bigger engines. Oh, what in thunderation? There we go. Boing. There we go. That was easy. So we're going to take this little lash cap and we're going to pack grease in it. And we're going to put it on there. And we're going to try to take it back off with greasy fingers and it won't come off. So that's a good thing. All right, now time to do the intake valve. I'm going to do that off camera because nobody needs to hear the kind of profanity I'm going to utter. Now the whole reason for having to do this is these two great big old long intake studs were broke off in the head. And these studs have there's a phenolic or a plastic spacer on here, and then the carburetor, and then the air box, and all manner of stuff. So these studs are nearly 6 inches long, sitting on a one-cylinder engine, vibrating like thunder at 3,600 RPM. Terrible design. Engineers very foolishly did not ask my opinion when they designed this. So, you know, pity to them. I'm going to put a little Never Come Loose juice on here. About the onlyest thing I got left to do is swap this little shield over and we're done. I'm going to do that off camera. Y'all know the drill on that. So, give me a big fat thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it. And until we meet again, y'all drive safe and watch for deer.